it's kind of sad because I'm not sure they really know what they're doing, even though they think they're doing something right for the planet. But the narrative was, we're not happy with the world's leaders. We need this 1.5 degrees, which is the magical number that we have to keep it on, and that we need to reduce our emissions 50% by 2030. I mean, let's see if we hear those narratives anywhere else, because it sounds like they've been indoctrinated with a certain script. So now I think let's go show our viewers and listeners what happened on the world leaders side of things.
Yeah.
And there's something I'd like to point out before we start this video, is we've taken all the world leaders from the COP27, the major world leaders from the COP27 meeting just recently, and we've cut it with a speech by Pope Francis from 2020. It was a TED Talk that he did in 2020. Now, this is Pope talking in 2020 and these world leaders talking in 2022. I'll just give a heads up. The Pope is speaking in Italian, so you have to read the captions at the bottom to understand what he's saying, unless, of course, you speak Italian. But look at the synergies between what the Pope said then and what's happening now, and what the people smashing the tablets are saying or were saying. And I think you're going to see that it looks like there might be a script going around.
The similarities are uncanny. The similarities.
It's impossible, statistically impossible, that the probability of this is chance. It is an absolute intention that's being done here.
Buongiorno. Viviamo un momento storico segnato.
And so this gathering must be the moment to recommit our future.
It's a historic moment of climate action out of the United States of America.
Il mondo è scosso dalla crisi provocata dalla pandemia del Covid-19, che mette in evidenza ancora di più un'altra sfida globale, la crisi socio-ambientale.
The social ecological crisis that we are living is a propitious moment for individual and collective conversion.
La scienza ci dice ogni giorno con più precisione.
The science is devastatingly clear.
The science is clear.
Its message could not have been clearer.
Dobbiamo agire con urgenza.
The IPCC issued a stark warning to the global community.
We are in the fight of our lives, and we are losing.
Let us not take the highway to hell.
We are on a highway to climate hell.
Let us earn the clean ticket to heaven. That is our responsibility.
Ma l'obiettivo è chiaro: costruire.
We have to make vital progress by the end of this decade.
The global climate fight will be won or lost in this crucial decade on our watch. All G20 countries must accelerate their transition now in this decade.
Questa transizione deve essere non solo rapida.
It will move us down the path towards a fair and equitable energy and climate transition.
We are making progress with the Just Energy Transition partnerships.
Equitable, more prosperous, more stable, and more just world for our children.
And about justice and fairness, equity, inclusiveness, diversity and equity, and inclusiveness and diversity. Diversity safe and secure for the globe and for the world.
Siamo di fronte all'imperativo morale e all'urgenza pratica di ripensare molte cose.
We have a moral duty to act concretely.
If you believe as I that this is God's creation and we have a moral responsibility, even if you don't share that religious view, we all know we have a moral responsibility.
L'ecologia integrale suggerisce una nuova concezione della relazione tra noi con la natura.
The Holy See is dedicated to promoting education in integral ecology.
Education for everyone, diversity, again, inclusion, equity, fairness.
Escludendo dagli investimenti le compagnie che non soddisfano i paramenti dell'ecologia integrale?
Humanity has a choice: cooperate or perish. It is either a climate solidarity pact or a collective suicide pact.
We heard from the Secretary General Antonio Guterres yesterday, which encapsulated the faith which is pinned in here and the fact that we have a stark choice before us all, suicide or solidarity.
Coinvolge tutti I popoli e coinvolge la natura.
Business and labor, environmentalist and business, environmentalist and labor, people of faith, concerned scientists, farmers, venture capitalists, you name it, everyone was at the table.
Wow.
Well, are they reading from the same script, Mackenzie?
It's you know, as we were listening through, one of the things that was sticking out to me was I've been going through some of the building code for BC and the requirements, and they're talking about this 2030, efficiency net zero things. And in the code now, there's a 5-step plan for getting to net zero on all houses and emissions by 2030 or 2032. This is in the building code now. This isn't just, when I seen that, I was like, wow, this is on every sector. It's not just at these big meetings. This is like right in the code books now for BC building code of just someone's personal house, that you have to be net zero ready and abiding.
And it's not surprising, because here they've said, let's review what they've said. This is a historic moment, that it's a socio-ecological crisis. That's a scientific fact, that if we don't act with urgency, we're going to climate hell. But then the Parliament leader, Ursula, said that we need to earn our ticket to heaven. So what is heaven and hell, that very distinctly biblical language, doing in this type of speech? Then they say, this decade, it has to be done. It's this decade. Or if we don't transition, it's basically we get on board or we die. And companies that don't meet the standards that they outline need to be excluded completely. That it's our moral duty and obligation to create just, equitable, and as you heard Nancy Pelosi, she sounded like she was like on repeat, like she was on a tape cassette and she got stuck or something. I mean, when I was cutting that, I was just like, did she really say these buzzwords this many times? And in essence, at the end of it, they're saying, if we don't do this, everything's lost and we're all going to die. And that if you don't participate, you're evil and you're bad. And I'd just like to point out
it's a suicidal pact.
It's basically unify or suicide, one or the other.